everyone. Welcome back to season 2 of The Curious Cube with your hosts Isabella.
Luke.
And Holden.
Woo! Good to see everyone back. And yeah, we've got a lot of exciting things happening this season. The first being we are all in college now, so we're no longer part of the AMC cycle.
In particular, we just finished our first semester here, so
yeah,
a lot of words to say about that.
The first semester is basically over. And not only is there just like generic stuff you think you learn from being a college student, but also like more perspective on like seeing math contests sort of from the outside instead of from the inside.
Yeah, I feel like a whole new person. But yeah, first of all, I feel old. Do you guys? I mean, Holden, you already got all of this last year.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I am 19 now. I'm like ancient.
Yeah. So, and then like scrolling on like AMPs and stuff, I feel like extremely old. And then I still have not taken like mock tested the AMCs this year. Have you guys?
I was going to,
them a little.
I have not. I am planning to do that in like the near future once I'm officially done with the semester. But yeah, but yeah, the Amy cutoffs released pretty recently too, and yeah,
I'm glad that the MAA has been able to return them so quickly, and then kudos to them.
Good stuff. So congratulations for everyone who made Amy, and best of luck in February. So yeah.
And also congrats to those who like still took the AMCs, because taking that, of course, is a big accomplishment as well.
Right. So I hear that it was like on a new platform or something, right?
This is true.
Yeah. No longer
on the new like MAA online platform instead of the AOPS online platform. So I guess MAA is like consolidating it all in-house to. I guess somehow the cutoffs have come back faster, so we're it's really great to like have this, because I guess because with no more like snail mail, you have no issues with oops, the post office burned down or whatever. And so just things run quicker online than through the mail.
That reminds me that I had a lot of issues with the post office and my passport, but glad that all got resolved.
Anyway, now that first semester is over, do you have any like comments about how it felt? At least for you two, not for me. Like, was it what you expected? Was it harder than what you expected? Was it easier? Different?
And also, like, we should like tell people what we did in the first semester.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's also true.
I think we maybe also should tell people what we did over the summer. If it's been a long
maybe
time.
A little bit. Like, we
a little
bit. Yeah.
But yeah, just.
I mean,
how
do you two do? I heard both of you went to MAA.
Yes, this is true. Nice. We had a fun time at the Math Olympiad program.
Me
as a student, Holden as a grader. Holden, would you like to say more about that?
I did not stay completely dry.
So I heard.
Holden wrote a problem that a lot of students thought was very difficult, and nevertheless, it appeared as problem 1. And so students were like, Holden, why did you write this hard problem? And so some students were like, I mean, it was all in good fun, but some students threw water balloons at Holden, and he like had his umbrella.
That sounds like a lot of fun. See, I was just a camp counselor at this math camp that is within Texas. It's called the Honor Summer Math Camp, and that was a lot of fun too. It was 6 weeks long, so twice as long as Bob. And it wasn't so much focused on like math contests. It was more like proofwriting and stuff like research as well. So it's not much of an Olympiad camp, but nonetheless, I still had like a ton of fun, and I got to mentor some really awesome students, and it was just an overall great experience. So I had a great time that summer. I also got to be teammates with Luke for probably the last time on the Arvel team, so that was fun. And I was team captain.
True. We went to the American Regions Math League site in Iowa, which was a fun time as well. But the bus ride is like not fun. So just like have to be like you are supposedly going to sleep on the bus. Let me tell you, you really do not sleep on that bus.
So
it is very difficult to sleep sitting up.
Let me explain. So we Texans go from Texas to Iowa on a 20-hour team bonding bus trip. And this is Luke's first time ever being on that bus. It was also my second time. I guess like third and fourth time if you include like the trip there and the trip back as like two separate trips. But it was my second time being on the bus, and it was Luke's first time being on a bus. And like the bus ride for me is great. It's uncomfortable. You cannot sleep, and yet it's still awesome because you get to be around with your good friends. Like my legs were dead, but like that doesn't matter because it was still really fun. But Luke was like miserable the whole time.
I mean, it was still nice to be around friends, but you just do not sleep.
I'm still confused at how a bunch of sleep-deprived Texans consistently beat the Chicago kids every time. I don't get it.
You know what that sounds like?
I wonder what that sounds like. Skill issue.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this is just like one artifact of the many ways in which it is just like really nice that things are, like a lot more things are starting to be in person again. Speaking of things being in person, other things I did this summer was go to IMO and IOL. So I went to the International Math Olympiad in Norway, and that was, a nice experience. And then a couple weeks later, I went to the International Linguistics Olympiad in the Isle of Man, which is it's a small island. Maybe people haven't heard of it. It's sort of like between England and Ireland.
Fancy.
And so, yeah, and just a quick plug for linguistics. If you like languages or if you like puzzles, in particular, the sort of people who like math might like this, you should check out the North American Computational Linguistics Open Competition, which can lead to, it can lead to qualifying for the IOL, but like even if you don't qualify for the IOL, you can like still try some really neat puzzles. So if you go to naclaweb.org, you can register for the open round, which is on January 26th. But yeah, I like to advertise linguistics all the time.
It was extremely necessary.
It was extremely necessary. I must advertise linguistics wherever I go.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of being back in person, also, congratulations on the gold medal.
Thank you.
Wait, why am I echoing? Oh gosh. Okay, well, don't worry about that. Hopefully, it will be less of a problem. But also, Holden, Luke, and I all were staff/officers for the Harvard MIT math tournament, which is also back in person. Woo!
Yes, we helped run HMMT, which like it used to stand for Harvard MIT Math Tournament. Now I think it officially does not stand for anything. But yeah, it is like Harvard and MIT's contest for like high schoolers.
Run by Harvard and MIT students.
Yeah, run by Harvard and MIT students for like high schoolers, and I guess exceptional younger students, but mostly high schoolers. So I'm one of the problem czars, and Holden and Isabella help out the problem czars. They are problem staff, and so my job is more of putting together the February test, but some other people were more on putting together the November test. And so, we got to showcase a lot of interesting problems, which you should check out at HMMT's website, hmmt.org. But yeah, I think it's really nice to like get to see friends that are in high school and like have them come see you, come visit you at college. I think this is just like another nice thing that maybe people are not really thinking about when they're in high school, but it's true that the people you meet when you're like in high school or middle school and you do these contests, like you can continue knowing these people for like a long time. Like this is, in my case, I've, a lot of the people I met in high school or younger when doing these contests are like still people I know like in college. Some of the people even live in the same wing of my dorm, but like it's just like it's really nice that it lets you connect with like you staying connected. I think is one of the biggest. It's one of the nice things that you maybe don't explicitly think about, but it like is just really nice when you get older. And so I think, and actually that ties into a nice lesson I have heard, which is like if you might know these people from math contests for a long time, this is a lesson I think that actually Po Shen Lo gave to the students at MOP, but I think it applies probably more than just that, which is like you might know these people for a long time. So like try to make them, like try to leave a good impression because like if people are going to know you for a long time, you don't want to be like 25 years old or something and people still kind of think, oh, they're that immature troll from AOPS who like to make flame wars about posting fake Amy cutoffs or something. Just like,
do people really think about that?
I don't know. I hope not. But like, if they do, I think I do think that in general people are
Holden's gonna
like
be like
as people
30
get
and
more
like
mature.
Holden's gonna be like 30 and like a successful professor, and people are still gonna remember him as the person who like proposed that awful
Wrote
problem one.
TSTST1 and got water ballooned. So iconic. No one's gonna forget that.
I think this will
Also,
become one of the stories of all time or something similar.
Yes. But yeah, just like in general, like just have fun. But if you make friends, it can be really good. And you can have friends for a long time. So just like, I don't know, be a
I guess
nice
that's kind of the
person.
theme of today's episode, because recently I've been doing so. See, as an old person, I have been doing a lot
that is
more
the theme of.
thinking. Yeah, I have
I
been
think that
doing
the
a lot
theme
of
of today's
things.
episode is like things that are a lot more obvious to us now that we are old than were obvious when we were like still in high school. But yeah, go on.
If I've like see, recently I've been doing a lot of like introspecting and reflecting, and insert fancy buzzword about like looking back at yourself and thinking about how cringe you were. But I was thinking a lot about things I wish I could have told my high school self, and now that I'm old and I'm like online, and now I'm like scrolling on AOPS or Discord or whatever, and I see a lot of like middle schoolers or high schoolers talking about like things that they vocalize a lot of the things that I recall feeling when I was at their age, and and now looking back, there's like a lot of things that I wish I could like tell myself slash them. So yeah, okay. So the first thing is, there's a lot of discussion about the AMCs, and with the discussion about the AMCs, a lot of salt about the AMCs. And like, I think a large general attitude that I see people have is that like if I don't do well on the AMCs, then like my entire math career is over, and like I will be extremely miserable and salty for like some arbitrary length of time. And like I remember feeling that way a lot of the time. There was like several years that like I just like would rail against the AMCs for several days following the exam. Like because I was like so pissed at how I did. And like honestly, if I could look back on that, and I wish I could have told myself that it's like I can't say it's not that big of a deal. Actually, I don't think I'm like verbalizing this well. So if you guys would like to jump in at any point, like feel free. But I wish I could have told myself that like this too shall pass or something like that. Like a bad score does not stick with you for as long as you think it will. Like I am here now at college at and I'm looking back on like my scores, and I honestly cannot remember exactly what I got on like the bad ones. I have like this vague memory of doing poorly on some exams, but like I don't know how I did, and I don't remember too well the bad feelings I was feeling back then. And you know, and I'm very glad I didn't fall through on thinking that I wanted to quit math forever or anything like that. So do you guys have thoughts about this?
Yeah, definitely. Or wait, maybe I've been talking so much. Holden, you can go first.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay. So I guess like what I wanted to say is a bit tangential to what Isabella wanted to say, but I guess it's still sort of related as well. I wanted to bring up the fact that one thing I wish I did more in high school was like study mathematics that is not Olympiad mathematics. And I guess one reason for this that I now realize is that when you're learning something for the first time, say like some new subject, um, often it can be like really difficult to learn at first, especially when you're not being able to see the big picture. And there are some subjects like I'm learning right now in college mathematics that, I wish I had previewed in high school or previewed before, because learning it a second time would have made it so much easier, and then everything would come together. And then having that sort of like larger picture sort of view definitely makes learning mathematics a lot easier. Do you guys have any thoughts regarding that?
I mean, like, at some point you would have gotten to a point where you're learning things for the first time, regardless of how much you did in high school, right?
Yeah, but the point is, like, I would rather have this happen on my own through reading in high school rather than like being in a classroom setting where, every single piece of like writing I submit to class is being graded or there's an exam, so forth and so
Right.
on.
Oh, no,
So to sort of like get a vague preview of like how various things work, as opposed to just like you try it for the first, you're seeing it for the first time in class or something.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think this is something that's not really emphasized. Like, you can't perfectly learn something the first time. And I feel like this is something a lot of competition math students don't realize because, they somehow breeze through the high school math curriculum and don't have to deal with this sort of struggle that often.
Actually, you're really right, because like I've actually been thinking a lot about this recently, because oh my gosh, it is really hard to learn something completely new for the first time. I honestly forgot that feeling, because I don't this is kind of a weird thing to say, but prior to college, I don't quite remember a time where I learned something new and like really like struggled on it. Like struggled to learn it. Cuz usually if it was like really hard, I would just like give up. which is why I was like never amazing at like Olympiad stuff, because I never really had the patience to like sit down and like really worry away at it and struggle with it. And now that I'm here and I'm struggling a lot on like math or physics, and I because a lot of this stuff I've seen for the first time, thinking that this is really hard. And I kind of wish I had a better idea of it prior, like kind of like what Holden said. Actually, like yeah, math started off pretty okay because a lot of the stuff that was covered was stuff that I knew, and then the directions that it shifted to, like it became really hard, because at some point I just had no idea what was going on anymore, and like it was moving too fast for me to really like stay afloat. Luke, do you have thoughts?
Um, yeah, it's definitely, you have Evan Chen's napkin to like get a sneak peek of higher math or whatever. But I think my thoughts about like not like I think maybe my thoughts were a bit of a different. Well, actually, before I go into my thoughts, Holden, I remember you saying something interesting about like how you don't regret that you didn't like try hard to make IMO in your senior year of high school. Uh, you should like tell the podcast viewers this story.
Oh, what did I even say? Now I have to remember. I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of like, one thing that I don't regret is, like not spending all of my high school time trying to make the IMO team, because, I feel like there are other things that I could have spent my time doing that were probably more worth, given that like maybe if I had spent like several hours every day just grinding math Olympiad problems, maybe I could have done it with like above 50% chance. But I don't think this is something I really would have wanted to do, because there were so many other things I could have done with my senior year, like other things I wanted to do, like play music or maybe learn other mathematics. And I just felt those were more time fulfilling and maybe would have been a better use of my time. Because one thing that I see in some number of people is that like you make IMO and then you are like it, and then you go to college and then you're like, now what? And then it really doesn't mean too much. Um, like the distinction between someone who made IMO and someone who didn't make IMO, like at least at the higher levels, is like not that large, I think. Would you agree?
Hmm. Yeah, like it's no one cares all that much about like IMO is not that important. I also remember you saying something about like if you had tried to make IMO, the topics you would have had to be grinding would have been like the parts of math that you like do not really enjoy that much or something, and you just preferred to not do that, and you like that you do not regret that you did not grind geometry and functional equations and inequalities or something.
Oh yeah, right. It was because like if I wanted to make the IMO team, I would actually have to learn how to get good at the subjects that I really struggled at, which was functional equations and geometry. And these are the sorts of and inequalities as well. And these are the sorts of things that you can just get really good at by knowing a lot of theory, or doing a lot of functional equations, or just knowing a lot of geometric lemmas. And this is something that I really didn't want to do, because first of all, that really doesn't help you in college. Like knowing what like random lemma is in geometry does not help you do better in your college classes or help you get better at like math or college math.
Right. I think something that a lot of people don't realize is that math Olympiads require like a very specific like train of thought, like a type of thinking. I don't know if there's like a way of like qualifying this with like an actual descriptor, but like it's like there's like I pseudoscience here. It activates like specific channels of your brain. Like you have like the same rough thinking style. And then when you transition to a place where that sort of like thinking process is no longer applicable, then I realize that a lot of math Olympiad people tend to struggle a bit, like what I am doing right now. Because like I'm so used to like seeing these problems in like a certain like, I'm gonna see if I could kind of describe this a bit. Like you see a problem and you kind of know what kind of conclusion you're gonna go for. You already have like, the intuition of like what kind of direction this problem is gonna take. When you go to college, sometimes you just have no idea what you're supposed to do with a problem like on a piece set or something, even though you have like the stuff that you learn in class. Since it's also new to you, that it becomes like you have to learn how to learn and then how to do the problems too, instead of having them like more slowly, I guess. I don't know if I'm saying this very like coherently.
Yeah, in
Luke, do you have
senior
thoughts?
year, I was well past the point where like learning additional Olympiad math would just definitely not help me be a better mathematician in general.
Diminishing
Yeah,
returns.
no one like cares about mixed to linear in circles in college math. In fact, no one cares about in circles at all.
Sorry,
they just do not.
geometry lovers.
Speaking about mixed to linear in circles, except for the definition.
Sorry, geometry lovers.
Well, I think there was one class where they did mention barycentric coordinates. Wow.
Which class?
Wait, this was only like a tool to prove like something that should be true anyway.
Yeah.
However, I think we've done a bit too much like contest math bashing so far. How do you guys feel that contest math has helped you so far in high school? Please don't say nothing.
I think we have some more things to...
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, I mean, I have more things to say about, I want to call it contest math bashing, but there are definitely more things I have to say, which is like,
okay, fine.
on the topic of like, you like people want to, like, you don't want to be remembered for being negative things. The counterpoint is that like people you meet are not going to like, it doesn't really matter like what scores you got as much as it is like being a nice person or something. Because like here at college, like there are definitely some people who like did math contests in high school and they have heard of me or whatever. But there are some people who like did not do, like there are a lot of people here who like did not do math contests in high school. They, you know, they thought AMC was a movie theater. They thought IMO means in my opinion. And so it's just like when they hear about like, oh, you know, Luke Robitaille, he did so well on such and such a math contest, they're just like, so why is that like, who cares? Why is that like the defining characteristic of a person? And yeah, like I don't want to go around and tell people, oh, I got whatever score on whatever contest. I just want to, you know, it becomes more important to just like be a nice person and a good friend. And it's not about like you flex your scores because no one knows, no one cares. It's just like, okay, good for you. Who cares? Like not in a not that they're not in a mean way or anything, but it's just it's like it's not about being competitive with each other anymore. It's because it's like it's not about trying to one up. I mean, not that it's like completely 100% non-competitive. I mean, I don't know if I'm
the
making
real
sense.
world's already hard enough as is. You don't need to be fighting a rat race with
Here at
people
college,
around you.
people are already having it's like it's already hard enough to just like do okay in your classes that no one has time for like a
rat race.
to like fight each other over who got higher score than whom on whatever contest. It's not like I'm not saying that this is an easy lesson to learn, but like it is like important to learn that like you should like once you because I'm assuming most of my viewers are like still in high school or maybe middle school. And I think the lesson is like once you get to college or even before, like it's definitely important to like just step outside the bubble and have people who are not primarily thinking of you as so and so did math contests. And that actually brings me to another thing, which is it is important that you should have something you do that is like not math contests. And ideally, it should be like something like maybe non-competitive and like maybe artistic or creative in some way. Like, because if you make your whole like identity about I am a person who does math contests and that is my life, then basically you're staking your entire happiness on a 25 question multiple choice test? Like, what? Please, for your own sake, don't do that. Please find something else that you can like go sing in a choir. You know, I I
We
do
can
that. Or
talk a
like
bit more
go
about.
paint
We'll talk a
or
bit more about trying new things in the future. I believe.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
like play music or like write fiction or that sort of thing. And do other contests as well. But ideally you should have something that's like just not competitive. So you can at least like just do something that's just like, oh well, maybe I got a score I don't maybe I'm not happy with my score on the AMC. Maybe I'm not happy with my score on the, F equals MA physics contest or the NACLO linguistics contest or whatever. But at least I can just like go back to my piano and just enjoy how beautiful the music of I don't know, classical music or whatever thing. I can
Ravel.
enjoy how beautiful Ravel's yes, Ravel.
There's an
Just like
old analogy about is it pronounced that? There's an old like saying about like, oh, you shouldn't look at a person like a piece of meat. You also should not look at a person as like a pile of numbers or achievements.
and
So
that goes for yourself. Don't look at yourself like a pile of numbers.
right. Okay, so I was about to say this before Luke decided to talk more about why math contests should not be your life, which is true. I agree with everything. To be clear, I agree with everything Luke said, but I also want to stick up for why math contests are still like a good thing. Like you should still do them. So, do you guys feel like there's like a way that there's some like way that they helped you out like now?
Yeah. So to be super concrete, I think math contests like really teaches, at least Olympiads, really teach you how to write proofs. Maybe they don't teach you exactly how to write proofs well, but at least they teach you how to write proofs. Another thing, I guess more broadly, is that they teach you a skill of problem solving, which is really important. And this is not something that's unique to math contests, obviously, but I think math contests is the most pure form of problem solving. And if you can learn, and if you're able to struggle with hard problems for a long time, this skill definitely translates to other fields as well, where you can maybe solve very hard real world problems instead of the fictional problems that appear on your tests.
And I also think that maybe like I know people tell you like, oh, math contests are like kind of separate from math research, but in my experience, the stuff I have done in some amount of research is like not that separate. Like some of it involves just like doing really big computations when I have done research in the past. And like this is not that separate from like it's sort of similar skill sets.
Oh yeah, I was watching you do like
you did complex bashing.
But yeah, like it's yeah, it
yeah, I saw you do like the all-nighter research. And it did look a bit like contest math.
yeah.
Now let's all agree to not wait that late on an assignment again.
Yeah.
Don't you still have an assignment you haven't done that was due like 10 days.
Okay. No one needs to know exactly. For those who don't know, like MIT's first semester is pass no record.
Okay,
Which means that
we
like
get it. You're going to defend yourself.
I mean, come on.
That is not
Yeah,
an excuse
basically-
not to turn in your assignments.
What he said.
I mean, yeah. Do like be good about your work.
Do as I say,
Because
not as I do, kids.
What she said.
This has turned into a session of Luke roasting.
Yes.
The first episode is me and Holden roasting each other. First season, my bad. Second season, it is we have joined forces to roast Luke.
I mean, I have gotten away without being roasted for like a long time.
Your time of reckoning is nigh.
Yes, this is the reckoning or something.
Anyway, do you also have thoughts about like math contests and be like useful?
I mean, I guess another thing is it's useful to like it is somewhat useful to be good at taking timed tests well.
Oh, true.
You are going to have exams like in like physics or something, or like math, whatever. Or
yeah, like
chemistry,
the exams in my physics class are pretty stringent. Like the time limit is pretty scary. Like it's like an hour and a half for like 5 questions, which like Olympiad prep definitely helps me with some of it because like it teaches me to like look at a problem and like run down like what sorts of things I could do with it like fast rather than like sitting at it and like poking away at it slowly. So it actually does help a lot in college. Or like that sort of like test taking ability is actually really helpful in college. So yeah, and then like yeah, kind of like what Holden said. So I feel like solving like these difficult problems is like a 2-pronged stick. Like okay, you have like the ability to think about a problem deeply, and then you have the actual ability for problem solving, and then these are like 2 components. And I think like math contests help a lot with the problem solving part of it, and stuff like research or like slowly working on problems or like that sort of thing builds the other part of it. So like when it comes to thinking about deep problem, like big problems, math contests already like delivers half the skill set. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah. So.
Yeah, maybe we should start thinking about wrapping up the episode. We've been at it for like half an hour now.
Whoa. So yeah. We will. So yeah, I guess that about wraps up of things that we think about now that we're old.
Yeah.
But yeah. It is really nice to be back, like, actually.
Yes, and here's like something that you can like think about while you're waiting for next time, which is like we will tell you how to do this problem next time, at least sort of in outline. But the problem is, for like given like for which positive real numbers are, can you like take a 1 by r rectangle and dissect it into 2 polygons that are similar but not congruent?
Interesting.
So I think this is like, yeah, this is like there are interesting, I think both parts of it, like this is one of those problems. This is an old Olympiad. This isn't like an old USIMO problem. And I think it's like,
shh, don't tell the source.
You can definitely have a lot of fun playing around with this, even if you like do not get all the different parts of it, because I think like
at least try some values.
Yeah, I think there are like a lot of these problems on Olympiads that like have 2 parts, which is like prove that some things are possible by like here it is, here's how you do it, and then prove that the other things are impossible by like you construct some clever argument. And it's like both of the sides of this are like pretty interesting here. And you can like play around with it a lot, and you might get a sense of like why certain cases are possible by you just do it, and then maybe there are some even more ways you can do some other cases that might surprise you, and you might want to generalize those to get like a lot of cases that might surprise you. It's like, wow, that case actually works, that's really cool. And then you might develop some argument for why some certain other parts like of the problem will not have a way to dissect it. And we'll tell you more about that next time. But yeah, like just play around with it, draw some pictures. You don't have to like figure it all out, but just like, yeah, when can you dissect a rectangle into two pieces that are similar but not congruent?
Yeah, thank you, Luke, for a very interesting comments. And thank you guys, the viewers, for watching our first episode of season 2. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you and happy holidays.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.